Hi, welcome back. How's it been going for you so far? Hopefully at this stage now you're starting to get used of the coherence technique. Hand and chest, bring all your awareness out of your headspace to your hand resting on your chest, breathing in for 5 into your nose, out for 5 through your mouth to get that whole body coherence, whole body intelligence and whole body energetic efficiency. Okay. Hopefully you've started utilising this in the morning when you get up, and every 90 minutes or so before you start to feel fatigued or overwhelmed. So I'd be interested to hear how that has gone for you over the course of the week. If you want to drop me an email, by all means do. So moving on from that, so we've looked at the tools and techniques to go from an incoherent state, which is where you're stressed, overwhelmed, overthinking and overreacting and so forth, in this degraded mode of performance, where you're less intelligent because the emphasis has gone more into your muscles and your periphery, your hands and your feet for that fight, flight or freeze state, rather than the emphasis being on your neurons. So you can make very poor decisions and get frustrated as a result, and make bad decisions and make situations worse. Okay. So we looked at going from an incoherent state to a coherent state. So you're getting into that calm, relaxed state of readiness and state of alertness, ready to go into that flow state on demand. Okay, to get into that sweet spot. And that's what we're going to start looking at today now, is taking it to the next step, getting into the flow state. So before we do, just let's get coherent together and then we'll take it forward into the next step. So put your hand on your chest, bring all your awareness to your hand resting on your chest, to get out of your commenting, latching, labeling, striving, limited mind or conscious mind. Okay, breathe into your nose for 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out for 5 through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into your nose for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out for 5 through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep that rhythm going now, and I'll talk you through the rest of it. Keeping all your awareness to your hand resting on your chest. Okay. So FLOW-Buoyancy. So flow. If you just like to read this slide now for a second rather than me talking through it, there's a nice quote there from Lao-Tzu, and there's some descriptions of exactly what the flow state is. Okay, just take a second to read and keep your awareness on your hand resting on your chest and keep your breathing going. So flow basically is you getting out of your own way, in simple terms, switching off this conscious mind, or certainly slowing it down and slowing down your brain waves as a result, and slowing down your heart rhythm, and your body becomes coherent. It functions as one unit, and you get your whole body intelligence and whole body energetic efficiency. Okay, and there's studies in the flow state that tell us that with MRI technology that this prefrontal cortex is very inactive in the flow state. Okay, it allows your subconscious mind, where all your honed skills are stored and all your routines and things that are stored in muscle memory. Remember the neuroplasticity we spoke about in week 1. If you get out of your own way and don't overthink, because the conscious mind is too slow to process, if you get out of your own way, it allows your honed skills and your intuition and your instinct to flow through you, and that's where the magic happens. And that's what the world-class athletes and performers will tell you. When they're at their best, they get out of their own way to allow the skills flow through them. Okay, so flow is basically what you thought was your A game wasn't even close. When you fine-tune this and you commit it to muscle memory, remember the neuroplasticity, after about 7 to 8 weeks, you start to implement this into your personal and professional life, you'll start to see some fantastic results in terms of productivity and creativity. So FLOW-Buoyancy, so that's the flow side of things. Buoyancy then is where you self-regulate the body's biochemistry and neurotransmitters. So we look at 5 particular biochemical stroke neurotransmitters. We look at DHEA, the vitality hormone, which we've got that one down with a hand on chest. In for 5 and out for 5, visualize, absolutely expect to achieve and detach. O is oxytocin. S serotonin, E, endorphins, and D, dopamine. So we've devised this simple system called the dose system. Sounds slightly agricultural, but very effective nonetheless. Okay, so as we said, D, we have that one down. Oxytocin is associated with reducing cortisol and de-stressing yourself. If you can remember time back when you had a lot of worries or concerns or challenges, and you shared that with somebody you trust, you can feel like a weight taken off your shoulders. Well, that's the oxytocin being released into your system, and it really gets rid of the cortisol, takes away a lot of the stress. As I say, a problem shared is a problem halved. Well, depends who you tell. It could be doubled. So the simplest way to get oxytocin going, there's a lot of ways to trigger these biochemicals, but the simplest way and most effective way that works well with the FLOW-Buoyancy system is a random act of kindness, expecting nothing in return. You can start off in your house in the morning, pay a compliment to somebody in the house, words of encouragement, inspiration, make a cup of coffee for somebody, make breakfast for somebody, even holding a door open for somebody. It gives you a release of oxytocin, it gives them a release of oxytocin, and they will pay that forward. So rather than becoming a negative influencer, if you were to say something or do something negative to somebody to get them into that stressed, incoherent state, and then their body gets flooded with cortisol, they're more likely going to get frustrated and agitated, and they'll pay that forward to someone else. As the great musician Bob Marley once said, the greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in how he affects those around him positively. So become a positive influencer with oxytocin. Just a simple random act of kindness. S stands for serotonin, associated with balancing your moods and also promoting a good night's sleep. And the simplest way to trigger this in your system is exercise. So you build exercise into your morning routine, and you build exercise in over the course of your day, so you move naturally. That's taken from a Japanese concept called ikigai, which is mainly around the Okinawa area of Japan, where people are renowned for living 10 to 11 years longer on average than even people in Japan and the rest of the world. But one of their secrets is they move naturally. They don't have so many conveniences. They use bicycles, they walk, they're not jumping into cars as often, and they have gardens, they have plenty of things to keep them busy. So move naturally over the course of your day, use stairs more often, stay away from elevators, lifts. E stands for endorphins, associated with feeling good and pain relief. And the simplest way to trigger endorphins is a simple natural smile. Wear a natural smile on your face, not a contrived smile, because people will pick up on that. It's got to be authentic, it's got to be a natural, warm, natural smile. We've all been in rooms where you might have a sea of grim faces and everyone looking everywhere apart from at each other, and then someone walks into the room with a warm, natural smile, and they just light up the room. As they say in Ireland, it would warm the cockles of your heart, especially if they look in your direction. Okay, so again, it's a very, very simple technique, but very, very effective. D stands for dopamine, the naturally induced dopamine, associated with reward and achievement. And the simplest way of getting this going, and one that is fitting with the whole FLOW-Buoyancy concept, is break your goals that you need to achieve over the course of your day into small, manageable chunks, small, manageable steps. Because if you've got too big a task, something that will last several hours or even several days, you're going to get overwhelmed by even the thoughts of it. You need to be taking things off your to-do list on a regular basis to get a release of dopamine fairly quickly, because dopamine kickstarts the flow state. Okay, it opens the floodgates for more dopamine, and it's self-perpetuating. It'll get the momentum going, and you'll start to move through your to-do list fairly quickly. So the best thing to do is break your to-do list into small, manageable sub-goals. Okay, and start off with the easiest, quickest activity on it, so you can tick it off. As soon as you tick it off, you're going to get a release of dopamine, and then that will spur you on then for the next one. Then you start working through your high value activities, your high priority, very important, very urgent activities from there. We'll get into the to-do list later on with the FLOW-Buoyancy daily improvement log, and you can see the benefits in that. Okay, so as we say, dopamine is key because it kickstarts the flow process. So if you're in this nice coherent state with whole body intelligence, you can very easily do the quickest, easiest task on your to-do list, and that will release the dopamine, and that will open the floodgates, and then you can very easily get into flow. But as long, it is conditional. You've got to stay out of this conscious mind. As soon as you engage the conscious mind, you cut off the flow straight away. Okay? You don't, as I say with achievements, you don't let them go to your head. Okay? As soon as you let it go to your head, it's gone. All right? So that's the FLOW-Buoyancy system. And from a high level, we're going to go into it in detail now with the daily routine for peak performance. But as we said in week 1, your body does not have an endless supply of the natural biochemicals and neurotransmitters. It needs time to replenish and recover. So we have to build in time for world-class recovery, with a world-class recovery technique, which is simply resetting yourself with the coherence technique, refocusing yourself in terms of what you need to achieve, and then detaching, focusing on the process over 90 minutes. Okay? And also refueling yourself. You've got to make sure that what you put into your system, your engine effectively, is quality foods and fluids. Foods that will give you nutrients and energy, and drink plenty of good quality water, NEW. Nutrients, energy, and plenty of quality water. Okay, to keep yourself hydrated. If you start to get dehydrated, what happens is then you start to get slightly agitated, you'll start to be able to think straight. And same with food as well. You need to keep yourself topped up with food. So you eat smaller portions, but you eat more regularly. So you could do it, every 90 minutes with your recovery technique. So basically, it's over the course of your day, you can't work at your high peak performance all day long, because it'll quickly start to peter out. You'll get fatigued, you'll get overwhelmed, and you'll get less out of your day. Okay, you won't go down through as much activities on your to-do list. But if you build in recovery techniques and use the 90 minutes as the starting guideline, and you can fine-tune that with your daily improvement log, you find with the best times in your day for high value activities. But initially, we need to build in where from the moment we get up in the morning, we reset, we refocus, we refuel, we start working through our to-do list when we get into work and so forth. We get the dopamine going, we get into the flow state, we get up to that high peak performance level. And then before we start to feel fatigued or overwhelmed, it's important that we take the break. Go somewhere quiet, even if it's into the toilet. I often do it if I got nowhere quiet, and I go in, I put my hand there, and I will get the whole body coherence going. Okay, I'll reset, I'll refocus on what I need to achieve then over the next 90 minutes, and I'll refuel as well. I'll have maybe some nuts and seeds, and maybe some fruit and some water, and I'll go back at it again. Okay, so you build in these over the course of your day in 90-minute chunks. So we've been talking earlier on about the circadian rhythm, which is your 24-hour pulse from the moment you get up in the morning, which is, for me, it's 5:15. I need to get up at 5:30, but I need to build in a morning routine, which is the 15-minute chunk. And then over the course of the day, I break it up into 90-minute cycles. Okay, it depends on the complexity of what you're doing. Sometimes you might need a break sooner, or you might need a break for maybe 2 hours if what you're doing is not overly complex or tiring. So it's all about fine-tuning that over the course of the day and building that in. And then what you need to do then is, at the end of your day, you got to put a line in the sand, because you don't want to be going home talking about work and thinking about work and regurgitating the same old thought patterns in the evening. It's important that when you either leave work, or whether you're on the train, or when you pull into your driveway, is decompress, do a quick reset and refocus and visualize what you need to achieve over the course of the evening, whether that's family time, leisure time, whatever that is, or maybe you're doing a course on something. So visualize, absolutely expect to achieve it, and then detach, and then focus on the process of making that happen. Okay, and then around 9 o'clock, a quick reset technique to basically get rid of any excess cortisol and get the vitality hormone DHA going again. The reason for this is around 9:30 onwards, your body wants to release melatonin, which promotes a good night's sleep, and it relaxes the nervous system to allow your cells to regenerate and recover at a natural pace over the course of the night. Otherwise, if you've got this cortisol flying around your body, like if you're sitting at home watching a horror movie, or that could be the news, or if you're having an overstimulating conversation, or if you have the lights on in the house, your body is not going to start releasing melatonin until much later, because it thinks with the lights, it thinks it's still daylight, and with an overactive mind, it's basically not going to come in until you're maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And that can be detrimental to your health. There's new studies coming out now that links melatonin, or the lack of, with things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all kinds of illnesses and diseases. So it's important that we build in good recovery techniques over the course of the day. We decompress in the evening, and we spend good quality time with the family and leisure activities. That's very, very important to regulate our body biochemistry, our oxytocin and even our serotonin and our endorphins. And then we prepare for going to bed, usually an hour before we need to go to bed. So in my case, I got to get up at 5:15 for my morning routine. I walk back 7 hours from that, gives me 10:15. That's when I need to be in bed. Okay, always go for 7 hours. Don't go for any more than 8 or less than 5, because it'll work against you. You'll be more fatigued as a result. So for me, 10:15, I walk back an hour from that. At 9:15, I start to prepare to go to bed. Not that I get into the PJs or anything like that. I bring the lights down in the house, so my body is basically starting to release the melatonin, because it realizes, okay, it's now night time. The lights are coming down low, and I certainly don't have any blue light technology like iPhones or iPads or computers or anything like that, especially in the bedroom, because that straight away fools your body into thinking it's still daylight, and the melatonin won't be released for hours. So I also make sure that the conversations and what I watch on TV or what I read is not going to overstimulate me. It's not going to get me stressed or agitated, because if I watch the news, I'm going to get agitated very, 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 very quickly. So I actually watch very, very little news, to be honest. So this leaves me in a good state that when I go to bed at 10:15, I can go to sleep quite quickly, and I know my nervous system is going to be relaxed. My cells are going to regenerate quicker than they will degenerate over the course of the night. Otherwise, you have accelerated aging, and none of us want that. Okay, so that enables me to wake up the next morning nice and fresh and refreshed. And coherence technique: visualize what you want to achieve over the course of the day. So you reset, refocus, refuel, and go with your day again. Okay, so that's pretty much taking us from the ideal cycle: coherence into flow buoyancy, recovery, coherence into flow buoyancy, recovery. You can't stay in the flow state all day long, but you can stay in a mild flow state. They won't be too taxing, but you do need to allow your body time to replenish if you're in a high intensity level of flow state. Okay, which can quite easily happen when you lose yourself in an activity, event, or a challenge. When you get out of your own way and you almost become one with the activity. It's like you forget about yourself. You're not referencing anything to yourself. This part of the brain as well, the prefrontal cortex, references time. So time just seems to fly past, or sometimes might even seem like it's slowing down, but your usual reference to time gets distorted, which is not a bad thing. It's the productivity you're going to get is going to be unreal. Okay, it'll be off the charts. So let's bring it all together now into the daily routine for peak performance. Okay, so I won't spend a whole lot of time, because we've covered most of it already. So again, you need to establish your constraint, what time you need to be somewhere at, and work back time to travel, allow a buffer time in case you get delayed, time to get ready and have breakfast and shower and so forth. And then that will bring you from, in my case, remember, it's 5:30. I take 15 minutes off that for my morning routine, and that's 5:15. And I walk back 7 hours from that, and I've got my 10:15. Okay, so as soon as you start to set the pattern and you stick to it, you'll notice massive gains in terms of your energy levels, your focus levels. It's an effortless way. But the other side of it as well, if you step outside of this pattern, if you step outside the current pattern that you have by 30 minutes either side of the time you need to get up or time you need to go to bed, you will get fatigued. And that will explain when you have a lie-in on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, you sleep in for an extra 2 hours and you wake up and you feel absolutely wrecked, you feel fatigued, and you're wondering, why is this? Because I slept 10 hours. It's because you've stepped outside of your usual sleeping pattern. So it's better off that if you get up at the usual time and take a power nap as soon as you start to feel tired, over when you can fit them in, that's a lot more beneficial. Okay, power nap no more than 10 minutes. Set your alarm on your phone, 10 minutes, and you'll feel fantastic. Okay. So again, we get up in the morning, as soon as you put your feet on the floor, even when you wake in the morning, your eyes open, first thing you do, put your hand on your chest, because that will get you out of here. Because if you stay here, you're going to be going, the thoughts of getting up, the thoughts of getting ready, and the things I got to do today. You'll lie there, and you might even be tempted to go back to sleep. But when you put your hand here, and get out of your headspace, put your feet on the floor, and go straight at your coherence technique. Hand on chest, in all your awareness and your hand resting on your chest, in for 5, out for 5. Do that for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Then that gets you reset, gets rid of any of the cortisol that might be still hanging around your system. You'll get the vitality hormone going, the DHEA, and get that whole body coherence, whole body intelligence, and whole body energetic efficiency. And then you refocus in terms of your focus on what you need to achieve over the course of the day in terms of your personal and professional life. And you fearlessly expect to achieve them as if it's already happened, and then you detach from the outcome, the principle of Sanshin. You detach from how you'll feel or be perceived, and you detach from any doubts or negativity. Now, just one caveat with this: when you're in this, when you get this whole body intelligence going, you're going to be quite intuitive, because your intuitive intelligence is going to be integrated with your mind's logic and intellect. Your subconscious mind and your conscious mind is going to be blended as one. Okay? You're going to get intuitive niggles every now and again, like look left and there's a bus. You don't want to miss them. You won't miss many of them. So if you have intuitive niggles when you have this coherence technique going, you need to ask yourself, do I need to follow this, or do I need to act on this? And if your intuition is not prompting you to follow it or act on it, it's probably a doubt. Okay, as they say in sports psychology, you got to tend to your confidence garden. You got to pull that weed before it chokes every bit of confidence. Okay, so we've reset, we've refocused on what we want to achieve, we've visualized, we've expected to achieve it, we've detached the principle of Sanshin. It's like detaching is like being in a hot air balloon and you cut the ropes, those constraints, those worries, those concerns, the things that's going to be that overactive mind, that inner chatter. You're cutting the ropes, and basically you're going with the airstream. Okay, you're going with the flow of your day, you're going with the flow of the activities, events, and challenges. Okay, so again, we've reset, we've refocused, we need to refuel. Okay, foods that give you nutrients, energy, and plenty of quality water. Okay, it's like you wouldn't put fuel into your car that wouldn't burn, or wouldn't burn efficiently, or is likely to cause problems, maybe reduce the longevity of the car or lifespan of the car. You wouldn't do it. Why would you do it with your body? Okay, you need to look at it from that point of view. So look at quality foods and fluids, refuel wisely. Okay, so that's the D part of the dose system, DHEA, the vitality hormone. Oxytocin. Even before you leave your house, you might find opportunities to words of inspiration to the people, someone in the house, maybe a compliment, make someone a cup of coffee, anything, something to get the oxytocin going in you and the oxytocin going in them, and influence them in a positive way. Serotonin, you need to spend 5-10 minutes then doing an exercise routine on the back end of your coherence technique. So what I do is, I hate this phrase, but I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I have a quick exercise routine which is based around a simple martial arts routine, and I use the visualization technique as well. So I visualize slightly in advance what I'm trying to achieve. So you're visualizing moving slightly in advance, you're not monitoring it, you're visualizing it. It becomes effortless and perfect with time. Okay, so I do that with my exercise routine, and then I move on to endorphins. So I go out the door wearing a natural smile. It's like putting on your jacket going out the door. Wear a natural, warm, natural smile going out the door to get the endorphins going. And also, again, it positively influences those around you. Then dopamine. Even by doing the morning routine, I very often will get a hit of dopamine, and that will start the flow process. But when I get into my workplace, I'll take my to-do list that was prepared the day before, and I'll do the quickest activity on it. And as soon as I tick that off, I get another hit, I get a release of dopamine, and that is self-perpetuating, and that gets me going over the course of the day. I'll go have a cup of coffee and have a chat with somebody and quickly return to my to-do list, working down through the priorities in terms of the high value, very important, very urgent activities. And I'm focusing only on the process of achieving these goals, not the unnecessary interference and distractions. And then over the course of your day, then remember your 90-minute cycles, your ultradian rhythm. So we've looked at the circadian rhythm, which is a 24-hour clock. The ultradian rhythms as your 90-minute cycles. Okay, so you break your day up into 90-minute chunks. Okay, so you can basically work at a high performance level during that period, but before you feel fatigued or overwhelmed, you got to reset and refocus on what you need to achieve in terms of visualizing what you want to achieve over the next 90 minutes, and refuel again. Okay, so again, it's about building these into your daily routine, and when we get into the FLOW-Buoyancy daily improvement log, we'll really fine tune this, and you really notice great benefits. At the end of the day, decompress. That could be on a train or when you pull into your driveway, just to create that line in the sand. You're not having any carryovers of thoughts or conversations into the house. And you reset, refocus on what you want to achieve in terms of quality family time or quality leisure time, or read a book or a course or whatever you want to do. You can operate at a high performance level during leisure activities as well in the evening. And again, 9 o'clock, reset. Prepare yourself for bed at 9:15. Well, in my case, 9:15 too. And I start turning the lights down low. I don't start watching any action movies or horror movies or watching the news or having any overstimulating conversations. And I'm nice and coherent. I got rid of any cortisol, any excess cortisol in the system over the course of the day. And I'm allowing that melatonin to come in and allow my nervous system to relax and calm down, so I can have a nice night's sleep and my cells can recover naturally, not degenerate quicker than they can be degenerated. Okay, so then wake up next morning, go through it again. So that's your daily routine for peak performance. Okay, so for the next few days, find that time for you to get up in the morning, do your reset, refocus, refuel, and get the dose system going over the course of the day. So every 90 minutes when you've had your break, you've done the D part of it in terms of reset, refocus and refuel. Don't forget to do random acts of kindness during that high peak period, okay? Even if it's a compliment to somebody where you're doing very well with that pat in the back or something like that, gets the oxytocin going in you and them. And serotonin building, moving naturally over the course of your day. Keep moving as much as you can. And endorphins, wearing that natural smile, it makes life a lot easier. Even when you're in the challenging periods of your activities, events and challenges, the wearing a smile can actually get you through it. It can be that bit of grit that gets you through it. As I say, grin and bear it and push through it. Okay? And dopamine, your to-do list. Your to-do list is absolutely king. Okay? It keeps the dopamine flowing and it keeps you in the flow state when you need to be in it. So give it a go over the next few days, and next week then we'll move on to the next module. Okay? Have a great few days. Take care.